I want to explain something for those that are saying this is an absurd deal. You're not wrong, by the way. You're not wrong at all. But I got a couple angles I want to take on Juan Soto. First off, let me just give the details. All right. The New York Mets just beat the New York Yankees in a bidding war for a player that the Yankees traded for in the offseason, gave up some good pieces to go get him. Part of the reason why the Padres had a really competitive run this year was because they used Juan Soto as a trade chip and were able to obviously add guys like Michael King. They made a trade, eventually took guys they got in that deal, went out and got Dylan Cease. Kyle Higashioka was really good for the Padres, 17, 18 home runs as a backup catcher, ended up being their everyday starter for a catcher perspective. So they got some players from that deal, and they went out and made a run. The Yankees did everything possible to make sure that Juan Soto stayed in the pinstripes. Okay. I'm going to give you guys a Dodger angle to this in just a second, why they were never going to sign a guy like Juan Soto. But let me just get through this portion. The actual numbers of the deal, okay? Juan Soto got a $765 million deal. It's the largest deal in professional sports history. The contract also includes a $75 million signing bonus. So basically, by the time this contract's done, it could be north of 800 when it's all done. All right, why did the numbers get so high? The numbers got high because the Yankees were interested. The Toronto Blue Jays were throwing outrageous numbers out there. Boston was trying to do everything they can. The Red Sox, obviously, big markets. Blue blood teams were all going after him. We know that the Dodgers had some interest as well. The Juan Soto deal, for those who don't know this as well, just to give kind of a little bit of background on this as well, it includes no deferred money. So this is whatever the hell I signed is what I'm going to get every single year. And I'm going to go ahead and not worry about what happens once my career ends or once I'm done being a Met. I'm going to get paid every single penny every single year for the next 15 years. There were reports out there that basically the Yankees were they were $5 million off. So I think the Yankees offered $760 for 16 years. This is why this is a significant deal. I'm not going to talk money yet or the finances. I'm just going to talk about the concept of what just happened last night. Steve Cohen is the richest owner in baseball. But I think the Guggenheim Group is, I don't know, but I know they're over 300. Their net worth is over 300 billion because it's the group, the company that owns the Dodgers. I'd rather have the Guggenheim Group than one individual owner, but Steve Cohen has money, and everybody knows Steve Cohen has money. The reason why this deal is so significant is the Mets just did something they've never done before. They went toe-to-toe against the New York Yankees and were able to bring in one of the stars of all of baseball. Listen, I put the 15 years, 765 to the side. Juan Soto is incredible. He's amazing. That dude is an absolute stud. He's 26 years old. He already has a World Series. The guy already has a ton of experience in the postseason. He's clutch. He does everything that he does. Juan Soto is a really good player. So let's not, there's no need to diminish what Juan Soto is. But it's significant because the Mets went out there and got Juan Soto over the New York Yankees. That doesn't happen. That doesn't typically happen. And Steve Cohen was able to do it in a bidding war and everything else. And kudos to the Mets for going out there and getting kind of the prized player in the offseason. And if Steve Cohen doesn't care about 15 years, $765 million, frankly, I don't know why Mets fans should care. There is no salary cap in baseball. So he's going to go out there and spend. And did he have to overspend? He did. But he got the player that he wanted, and he took him from the Yankees. I think that's significant. I think that's its own story right there. It's almost like the changing of the guard in New York. It would be the equivalent of, and maybe this is a little bit of an example, but not really. But it's almost like when Steve Ballmer bought the Clippers, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, I think things are going to start changing here. Things are going to start shifting. But the Clippers have not been able to cash in a championship. But they did go out there and get Kawhi Leonard. And they did trade for Paul George. And they did just build their own arena. And they left They left obviously crypto.com and they got Intuit Dome now where he paid $2 billion for. He's creating his own identity for the Clippers, which will never rival the Lakers, but it's not up to him to rival the Lakers. For him, it's just, how can I make the team that I own better, understanding that I'm always going to be in the shadow of the Lakers? That's kind of what Steve Cohen is trying to do with the Mets. Yes, the Yankees are in town. Yes, the Yankees are the team in New York. But I just got to worry about myself. And that's exactly what, obviously what he was able to do. Let me now tie this back to the actual financial part. I think it's absurd that they're paying Juan Soto 15 years, $765 million. Yesterday at the Lakers game, Shohei's at the game with his wife, and they're enjoying the game. There were a couple times Shohei wanted to come up to me, and I'm like, not now. I'm trying to cover the game. Can you not see? Gabe Vincent is 1 for 4 right now. I got to focus here, Shohei, please. So that happened a couple of times. I had to kind of check him. You know what I mean? I tell Shohei, this is not a good time. Security, please. Somebody grab Shohei. This is getting embarrassing. Shohei's at the game. Remember last year when he signed for $700 million and everybody thought it's absurd. I don't know if everybody thought it was absurd, but I think just seeing the number 700, it was just this, your mind couldn't comprehend that a player is getting $700 million. Let me tell you how much different the Juan Soto contract is to the Shohei Ohtani contract. The reason why the Dodgers were never going to go sign Juan Soto is because the Dodgers don't do deals like that. Plus, they don't have to right now. The Mets had to do a deal like that. The Yankees felt like they had to go get Juan Soto to re-sign with the Yankees, especially because they just went out and traded X amount of players. They got a loan for Juan Soto. Now, they made it to the World Series, but they didn't cash it in, and then that's it. He's gone. What do you have to show for it? The Toronto Blue Jays felt like they had to go get Juan Soto. They keep missing out on multiple free agents. The Boston Red Sox felt like they had to go get Juan Soto. The Dodgers didn't have to do anything. But this is how much different the Soto deal is to the Shohei deal. Juan Soto is going to get, for the next 15 years, $765 million total. Shohei Ohtani, for the next 10 years, let's count the year before last year. So, let's just say 9 years left. He's still going to get $2 million for the remainder of his contract. And then, obviously the $68 million a year is going to kick in after. So the deferred money, what that did was it allowed them to go get Teoscar Hernandez. It allowed them to go get Tyler Glasnow. It allowed them to go get Yamamoto. It still has an effect on this year. It allowed them to go get Blake Snell. Anybody they go sign, you should go thank Shohei Ohtani because of that deferred money. You guys know how I feel about the deferred money. I still don't understand how that is good for Major League Baseball, but I know it's good for the Dodgers, and I know teams can take advantage of it, and the Dodgers are taking advantage of it. Right out the gate, Juan Soto deal, you're paying this guy every single, every year you're paying him whatever the 765 divided by 15 is. For Shohei Ohtani, you got this thing spread out basically over 20 years or whatever the amount of years that it is. Okay, that's number one. That's a significant, that's big right there. It's big because the Dodgers can keep spending and improve the roster. That's number one. Number two, Juan Soto and Shohei Ohtani, Shohei's already paid for their investment. Shohei Ohtani right now in all of sports is a global icon. Global icon. He exposed the Dodgers to a market that is so thirsty for baseball and will pay anything possible to watch games, watch the Dodger games, watch Shohei Ohtani, watch Yamamoto. Let's see what happens with Roki Sasaki. And if Shohei's going to have even an influence on bringing him to the Dodgers. But just from a pure business perspective and global icons, look what Shohei is doing to Dodger Stadium. Look what Shohei is doing to Major League Baseball. Look what Shohei is doing to the international game. Look what Shohei is doing in the Asian market there, specifically, of course, Japan. They got a game in Tokyo coming up this year. He's a global icon that is printing money. Soto's going to make you money. These are two completely different conversations. And that's not even disrespect towards Soto. That's just how big Ohtani is. Okay, let's talk more about that contract. The reason why Shohei Ohtani got $700 million, he's as good as any pitcher in baseball. He's the best hitter in baseball. He's as good as any pitcher in baseball. He's the best hitter in baseball. He, at least for these next few years, is going to be able to do both. And then when he decides to stop pitching and he's only a hitter, then he'll still be one of the best hitters. He's in the 50-50 club. There is a huge difference between these two players. So as you kind of sit back and you saw what happened last night, of course the Dodgers were not going to go try to sign Juan Soto. Of course they weren't. And if you want to compare the Juan Soto contract to the Shohei Ohtani contract, it's like comparing a stock that's worth thousands of dollars for every stock and a stock that's, I mean, I don't want to say a penny stock, but you guys know what I mean. There's no comparison. And again, it's not Soto's fault. I think any player in Major League Baseball trying to compare to Shohei Ohtani's $700 million deal this morning looks like a discount. It looks like Shohei should have went back to his agent. It should have went back to the Dodgers and said, this contract's just not good enough. Look what Soto got. It's an absurd amount of money that they're throwing to Juan Soto. I know why the Mets did it. I know why the Yankees were trying to do it. I know why the Red Sox were trying to do it. The Dodgers don't have to do it. And there's a reason why the Dodgers didn't do it. You know, frankly, I think that if the Dodgers did do it, it would have been, I mean, people would have been up in arms because how many stars that they have. But I think for the Dodgers, you're almost saying to yourself, did this kind of work out perfectly? Now, Soto did go to the NL, and imagine Mets and the Dodgers, or it's another team now. Listen, the NL is the class of baseball. You got the Dodgers, the Braves will be back. We'll see what the Padres do in the offseason, but they certainly got to add some. Pitching. Look at the New York Mets. Look at the Philadelphia Phillies. Look at the Milwaukee Brewers. Is Arizona going to take a step in the right direction? San Francisco is trying to be in the mix. The class right now is completely in the NL, and Juan Soto being obviously a New York Met, not a surprise, not a shock, but at the end of the day, Jesus, that is crazy how much different that contract is from Shohei Ohtani, and it makes Shohei Ohtani's contract now look like nothing. All right, let's see what we got here. And in 10 years, when the asteroid hits us, Ohtani contract won't look so bad. I don't think it looks bad now. I'm waiting for the first $1 billion contract in the next 10 years. It might be coming. Let's see what else we got here. If Soto gets injured, it's a waste of money. Ohtani had Tommy John and can still hit. Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. Just the fact that he can play both sides of it. And Juan Soto, if you guys look at this guy, he's a complete stud. But in 5 years, Juan Soto is only going to be a DH. That's it. So that means probably for the next 10 years of his contract, he's just DHing for you. And, you know, you're putting that much money towards him. Again, I'll say this again. I do think part of the reason for the Mets, this wasn't just about Juan Soto. This was Mets versus the Yankees. This was stealing the headlines from the New York Yankees. This was the Yankees want Juan Soto and are willing to give him $760 million. He chose us for $765. There's a bigger story here for the Mets and why they went out and got Juan Soto. But just kind of comparing it, you know, to what's happening with the Dodgers or comparing any of that stuff, it's such a drastic difference, and I don't think anybody is surprised that the Dodgers did not go after him. So glad Dodgers didn't get Soto. Honestly, by far, way overvalued. Great bat, nothing else. We have 3 bats as good or better. Yeah, you might be right there. And you just, you know, frankly, I go back to what I said in the beginning. You don't need him if you're a Dodger. You don't need. You need him if you were the Mets. You need him if you were the Yankees. The Dodgers did make a couple of moves. I'm going to just hit on a couple more things here in baseball, and then I'm going to kind of switch gears to the NFL. Dodgers did make a couple moves. Michael Conforto was with the Giants last year, spent the past 2 years with the Giants, signed a 1-year, $17 million contract with the Dodgers. So basically, what does that do? They need some help in the outfield. So Michael Conforto. Now, I'm still assuming they're going to go sign Teoscar Hernandez, or maybe, and while I'm doing the show, who knows what the hell's going on. Teoscar, if the Dodgers don't get Teoscar, it's because the Yankees said, go overpay for Teoscar, or the Red Sox said, go overpay for Teoscar, or the Blue Jays said, go overpay for Teoscar. If they don't get him, it's because other teams that didn't get Juan Soto said, we got a wad of money and we got to get rid of it. And we have to at least show to our fan base that we got somebody. And Teoscar is a good player, but that's obviously another free agent that will be interesting what happens there. So they did sign Michael Conforto, and they also re-signed Blake Trinan. Where do I see the Trinan thing? It's not in my article. Oh, here it is. Okay. So they re-signed Blake Trinan to a 2-year, $22 million deal. He's 36 years old, by the way, but the dude was a stud in the playoffs, has obviously had a ton of injuries. So I think if you're a Dodger fan out there, getting Blake Trinan back is it's a good move for the Dodgers. Winter meetings start today, by the way, so that's why there's a lot of action going on. I don't know if you guys saw over the weekend too. Willy Adames of the Brewers agreed to a 7-year, $182 million deal with the Giants. A lot of pressure right now on these NL teams. I will say this is one thing that the Dodgers have kind of done to Major League Baseball, and specifically, I think the NL West. They're raising the bar. One of the things that I appreciate coming from a guy like Doug McCain, who runs, obviously hosts all the shows for Dodgers Nation, is when he talked about the Padres, he said that he respected the fact that ownership group was saying, even though the Dodgers are in their golden era, we're going to try to compete with the Dodgers right now. We're not going to wait. Because, by the way, how do you predict when this era is going to end? All eras end. It just doesn't look like it's coming anytime soon for the Dodgers. But you see the Giants trying to do everything they can. The Arizona Diamondbacks were basically all in. The San Diego Padres have been all in these last couple of years. The Dodgers have raised this bar where it's, if you want to be mediocre in the division, yeah, you're not going to be anywhere. And that doesn't guarantee the Giants anything or Arizona anything. But the entire NL now, all the teams that I listed, if you're trying to hang with the elite in the NL or the elite in baseball, you're staring up. It's the Dodgers first and everybody else. They have raised the bar for everybody. All right, let's keep looking here. Mets not better than the Yankees were. Yankees better club. Dodgers just drove up the price of Soto. You might be right, but I got to be honest with you. I don't think it was going to come down to the Dodgers, because you know who drove up the price for Juan Soto? The Yankees wanted him. The Mets wanted him. The Red Sox wanted him. Those are two of those franchises are the blue bloods of baseball. Two of the most popular franchises are the Red Sox and the Yankees. And then the third franchise in the Mets has the richest individual owner in baseball that was going to do everything he can to go get Juan Soto. That's what drove up the price. So the only way the Dodgers were able to really drive up the price, if the Dodgers were saying, hey, we'll give you 10 years, $600 million. And you got an option after 5 years to go sign another 10-year deal with anybody else. That's what I think would have driven the price. But Juan Soto didn't need the Dodgers to drive up the price. He already had the Blue Bloods, and he already had Steve Cohen of the Mets. And even Toronto. Toronto is, obviously the Blue Jays are representing all of Canada, and they're trying to get their star, and they missed out on Shohei Ohtani. So there's a lot that comes into that.